Good afternoon, my dear students, and welcome to our class in Law-Related Studies. By the way, kumusta naman mo? I hope that all of you are fine and in great shape and be always safe from possible contamination of COVID-19. As you know, there is a rising number of cases of COVID-19 in the different municipalities in the province of Southern Leyte. And that is one reason why the governor of the province declared the whole province under GCQ in order to ensure that people will not be able to transmit the virus to other people, especially those who are comorbid or suffering from ailments. So let us be safe. Let's not get out of our houses. We get out of our houses only on extreme cases or extreme need, but we should always be careful when we get out of our houses, and of course always maintain physical distancing and the wearing of face mask and, if possible, face shield. With all these things, we can be assured that we are safe from COVID-19. Before proceeding to our new lesson, we'll have a brief review of the lesson that we had last week. Well, we talked about when we can declare a student to be dropped or have failed the subject on the basis of absences, number of absences, and of course, how a teacher should compute the grade of a student. We learned that in the computation of grades, the basis must solely be the academic performance of the pupil or the students. So when we speak of academic performance, this includes quizzes, assignments, oral recitation, projects, and other tangible outputs that can be delivered by a student or a pupil. We have destroyed or we erased that notion, that grade of a student is within the authority and power of a teacher. That is not true. So whenever you hear a teacher saying, "Naara ka sa tumoy sa akong ballpen," then tell that teacher that what he or she is saying is not true. Because according to the law, grades must be solely be based on the academic performance of a pupil. So whenever a pupil or a student is discontented with a grade that is given to him by his teacher, then the student has the right to look at the class record of the teacher. As you see, the class record contains all the scores of the performance of the student or a pupil. So it is on these scores reflected in the class record that will be the basis in the computation of grades. So always remember that if you are discontented with your grade, you ask cordially, of course, you ask the teacher if you can look at the class record and see your scores, because it seems as you feel that you are not given the right or the appropriate grade. Okay? So grades must be computed solely based on your academic performance and nothing else. So if ever a teacher has this negative feeling or positive feeling toward a student, then this should not in any way influence the computation of grade. Always remember that. The second is the number of absences when we can declare a student to be dropped or failed in a subject. So as we have learned, we are given, or a student is given 20% of the total number of meeting hours before he or she be declared dropped from the subject. Okay, so you have to determine what is the total number of hours. You compute 20% of that. So if the absences go beyond the 20% allowance, it's only then that a student will be declared dropped or failed due to excess absences. Okay, so this afternoon we are going to discuss a new topic that will of course interest all of us. And this is about the due process, or the student's right to due process. What is due process? Nakadungog na ba mo ni ana nga term due process? Or this is your first time to hear the term due process? Due process is considered important for every Filipino, and it is enshrined in the Philippine Constitution, the 1987 Constitution, which says, "No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." Okay? So, this is contained in the Constitution of the Philippines, the 1987 Philippine Constitution, making sure that no Filipino people, no one, will be deprived of liberty, property, and life without the due process of law. What then is due process of law? The then Justice Frankfurter of the U.S. Supreme Court described due process as nothing more and nothing less than the embodiment of the sporting of fair play. Unsa may buot ipasabot niini? In our own understanding, when we speak of due process, naghisgot ni nga si bisan kinsa nga tao or student for that matter nga giakusahan or gipasanginlan for whatever reason, before a punishment will be given or before any action that will be taken by the school against that particular student, there should first be an investigation that will be conducted, wherein the student is given the chance and the privilege to defend himself. No? That is due process. Tagaan o higadyon ang estudyante sa pagdepensa sa iyang kaugalingon, pagpresent sa iyang mga ebidensya in order to save himself from the accusation. That is due process. So, even inside the school, the student should also be given the right to due process. So whenever there is a punishment given to a student for whatever ground, if there is no investigation conducted, if the student is summarily given a punishment without investigation, then there is a violation of due process. And therefore, the action that is taken by the school against the student is illegal, and it violated the constitutional provision about due process. Okay? So, naamang gani due process sa atong pamilya, sa atong bahay, di ba? Whenever we commit mistake, mudiritso ba og bunal si tatay or si nanay? Di man, di ba? There is first given the chance to a child to explain, to reason out unsa man di ay nahitabo, nganong nabuak man tong vase dito sa sala, nganong nasunog man ang dinungag dito sa kusina. So the child is given the chance to explain and to defend himself before any punishment is given. That is a very simple illustration on how we experience due process in our home, in our houses. So the same should be done and be observed in the school. Due process is very essential. Whatever action that would be taken against a student, especially if we talk about suspension, expulsion, or exclusion, that is detrimental to the studies of the student, there should be due process that will be observed. Okay? So there should first be an investigation that a student will be given the chance, the right to defend himself against any accusation.